तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. सिक्स्थ मंत्र. एष सर्वेश्वरः एष सर्वज्ञः एषोन्तरयामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवाप्ययौ हि भूतानाम्. Esha, this, which is under discussion, and that is the Atma, and that is Brahman. And right now, that Brahman, which is Atma, has been explained. How Atma is everything. Atma is Brahman means Atma is everything. I am Atma, Brahma, that is fine. But how will we understand? Everything is Brahman is easy to say. But when everything is there, you cannot be excluded. But when it comes to me, means I am also everything. That's how the equation is. No, that is not. So it's explained. Soyam Atma Chatushpad. Understand like this. How Atma is everything. How you alone appear everything as everything. You alone shine as everything. You are, therefore everything is. That's a criteria. Because Brahman is Jagat Karanam, Brahman is equated with the Atma, therefore Atma is Jagat Karanam, and Atma means I, the Sakshi. That is witness consciousness, that is in fact pure consciousness, nothing else. For which everything is objectified, for which everything is revealed, for which everything from which everything borrows existence. That is what you are. So that has been explained in 4 quarters. And the first quarter has been, in the third mantra has been said, well, that Atma alone appears as a waker. There is a waking state for you. Yeah. In that waking state, you appear as the waker and the very waking world. You pervade both. You pervade this gross body, etc. Of course, including subtle body and causal body will be there. We have to include it. And that, that is what the Atma which obtains in the waking state as the waker called Vishwa. Vishwa means you have an identification with all the 3 bodies. You have literally identified to the fullest extent. Waking state is something where you identified in a fullest extent, I mean totally, up to this gross body. That's called waker. And say, but you are Sakshi, the consciousness pervades even Samashti also. Because that is Brahman. Everything is Brahman, therefore and Brahman is Atma, therefore I, the Atma, Sakshi, pervades everything. Therefore not just identifying with this body I say as a waker, well, I also identified with the entire universe. And therefore Atma identified with the entire universe, well, that's called Virat. That's called Virat. So basically Vishwa and Virat is the Prathama Pada. Your pada. Or you may say, well, Ishvara's pada. Everything is Ishvara. You can say that. How? Well, Ishvara is, what is the difference? You say, no, I am not Ishvara. Now what is the difference between you and Ishvara? Well, Ishvara with the Maya-upadhi. I am with this upadhi. Yeah, but the upadhi is mithya, and therefore you are the same Brahman. Anyway, but with the Maya-upadhi, definitely the upadhi is not predominant. The attributes of the upadhi is definitely affect the Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara remains a Sarvagnya. Ishvara is a Sarvagnya. He knows he is Brahman, and this upadhi is mithya, and I alone appear as everything. Ishvara says, in fact, he also identifies with the entire universe. That's called Virat, in fact. He alone identifies as with that. He has a aham. His aham is in the entire sthula prapancha. That's called Virat. I have a identification. I have a aham only up to this. Because of upadhi, avarana. Because of ajnana. I am Brahman. Therefore, well, I can say this all is my manifestation. I should identify with everything. No, I identified up to this. Therefore, there is a Jiva bhava. But Ishvara knows. Therefore, Ishvara's aham is everywhere. Ishvara's aham is also in this body also. Yeah. Entire Sthula Prapancha means this Sthula Sharira, this Sukshma Sharira, this. But anyway, the third pada, let us talk about first this. So, Ishvara's identification, Ishvara's aham buddhi, when Ishvara says aham, let's say, when Ishvara says aham, includes entire gross universe. When you say aham, it includes this. That's it. Then, but you are Brahman. Therefore, you should say this all is my manifestation. No, I won't say. Because of upadhi. Mithya upadhi, that jivatvam is mithya, etc. So, identification with only one upadhi is also mithya. And Ishvara definitely is Maya upadhi. And therefore, well, that is under the control of Ishvara. Yes, though. So Ishvara doesn't lose this swatantra. Because of this ajnana upadhi, I lose swatantra. Ultimately, what is there is anadi vastu. Brahman is there with the anadi prakriti. That's it. But that prakriti is non-separate from Brahman. So what is there is Brahman ultimately. So this is anadi. From that prakriti, well, these two upadhis, Maya and avidya, upadhi. Malina sattva, Vishuddha sattva. Vishuddha sattva, Malina sattva. Mithya. With the Vishuddha sattva upadhi, well, there is the Brahman with this Vishuddha sattva upadhi. That's called adhyaropa. That's what I taught in the morning. It's a Vedanta Sara Prakriya, but that works well. People just called me just before this, after the class was over, that you have given a very good view of that. So I'm giving you that also. So that is there. That's it. But the Vishuddha Sattva Upadhi, same Prakriti, but Vishuddha Sattva. Well, he becomes Ishvara. Becomes. Yes, though. Because mithya, therefore becoming also is mithya. Anyway, so that is first mixture. Mixture of Satyam and mithya. Brahman and Prakriti. That is there. From there, Brahman and Maya. Vishuddha Sattva Prakriti. And then Brahman and Malin Sattva. Avidya. So that is Jiva. Jiva is Anadi, Ishvara is Anadi. Understand? Jiva is mithya, Ishvara is mithya. Right? Or Jiva and Ishvara both are adhyaropa, both are mithya. It is exactly like a snake and rope, mixture of snake and rope. We can call it adhyaropa, or we can call it is a mixture of Satyam and mithya. Either way. And then, well, definitely, so Ishvara, because of the Vishuddha Sattva Upadhi, same Brahman, but then he is called Sarveshwara, Sarvagnya, Antaryami, etc. And he becomes the cause of the entire universe. And he identifies with the entire universe. And therefore he identifies with everything. This is also creation. Ishvara Srushti. So he identifies with the entire Sthula Prapancha. When he says Aham as a Ishvara with the Maya Upadhi, his Aham is everything. He is Abhinna Nimitta Upadan. I am also Brahman. Also I have to say, I am Brahman, but with this Upadhi, Malin Sattva Upadhi, Avidya Upadhi, well, definitely I say myself Jiva, because Malina Sattva Upadhi means definitely the attributes of the Upadhi. Or there is a Upadhi Pradhanyam. I say I am Jiva, I am a limited entity. I won't say I am Sarvagnya. You are Sarvagnya. You are Ishvara. Because it's a mithya Upadhi. And therefore you are the Brahman who sustains this Upadhi. Even either a Maya or either a avidya. You are the one who sustains. You are the one who lends existence to that. It's a bhinna from you, the Brahman. But no, Avarana is there. And since this avidya, Avarana is there, therefore I do not know I am Brahman. That's called Avarana. And instead I take myself as a Jiva. Like when when there is ignorance of the rope, then definitely first thing is Avarana, that you do not know it is rope. And not only that, you create something. You project something. It's a projection. And that is called Vikshepa. And it is snake. So Avarana and Vikshepa both are there. Same way here. Therefore, avidya upadhi, this malin sattva upadhi is such, because of which I don't know I am Brahman. And therefore I say, and Vikshepa also is there, I am a Jiva. Different from Samashti, different from Ishvara. And therefore, you are the Brahman, you are the very cause, you are a bhinna nimitta upadana karanam of everything. But Swamiji, but we don't understand, because there is a vivarta upadanatvam and parinami upadanatvam is there. And therefore sometimes we feel Ishvara is a karanam, I am basically a karya of Ishvara, etc. See, look, when you take into account this Maya-upadhi, you take into account, then it is a parinami upadana karanam, because the Maya undergoes modification starting from three gunas of the five elements, subtle elements, and then all this sukshma shariras and everything, the entire sukshma prapancha, and then the grossification, all parinama. So along with the Maya, if you take a karanam, then definitely we call it as a Ishvara. But when you don't take into account the Maya, well, just look from the standpoint of Brahman, then also you are Karanam. Ishvara also Karanam, same Brahman. And therefore it is a vivarta upadanatvam. There you don't take into Maya into consideration. So from the standpoint of a vivarta upadanatvam, well, you are the Karanam. Ishvara is also Karanam. You are Ishvara, you can say very well. So when I say you are Ishvara, please understand vivarta upadana karanatvam. That's how drishti srushti vada. Everything is because I am. Or I am, therefore everything is. I, the consciousness, is the cause. Without undergoing, vivarta means what? Without undergoing any type of modification, I appear like the rope. Without undergoing any modification, appear as the snake. Means, how then why do you call the rope is a cause of the snake? Whatever the rope is nothing but whatever the snake is nothing but the rope. Rope alone lends existence to the entire snake. Entire snake is dependent upon, or entire snake is non-separate from the rope. And therefore, from the vivarta standpoint, that is the ultimate standpoint, because the parinami upadana karanam etc. Ishvara. But since the Maya is mithya, and if you include Maya along with the Brahman, when you say that is Ishvara, then that Ishvaratvam is basically mithya actually, because the Maya is mithya. So you take into account Maya-upadhi. Along with the Maya-upadhi, Brahman is called parinami upadana. Without Maya-upadhi, or without avidya-upadhi, without prakriti, you are the one who is you are Ishvara, you are the Karanam of the entire Jagat. Ishvara appears in the form of entire Jagat, while I can say I am Ishvara, appears in the form of entire Jagat. When you don't take into account Upadhi, please understand. Along with the Upadhi, you say I am Jiva, over. Ishvara is different. Ishvara also should say, well, Ishvara is different, you should say. Samaji, Ishvara also should say, well, all jivas are different. Vishuddha Sattva Upadhi. He knows Sarvagnya, Sarvavit. He knows himself. Mool avidya also is not there. Tul avidya also is not there. Along with the Maya-upadhi, well, he manifests in the form of entire Jagat. So he knows the entire Jagat with all its Vishesha also. With the Maya-upadhi, please understand. Sarvagnya, Sarvavit, Karmaphala Data, Antaryami, all that is with the Maya-upadhi. Parinami Upadana, you can say. He alone, he is in the form of this Jagat. Swamiji, I am also in the form of Jagat. Yes, from the standpoint of Brahman, Vivartopadana. From the standpoint of Ishvara also, well, he knows he is a Vivartopadana of this entire Jagat. But if you count along with the Maya-upadhi, then you can say Ishvara alone is in the form of Jagat. Ishvara alone undergoes this modification, etc., which is mithya, which is really not true. All that is there is Brahman. That is this Atma. Keep this in mind. But in order to explain how Atma is everything, that is Brahman, Sarvam hi etat Brahma, Ayam Atma Brahma, Soyam Atma Chatushpat. And therefore this equation should not go from your mind. That Brahman is everything. Nothing is beyond Brahman. Nothing is beyond limitless consciousness. And therefore, if nothing is beyond consciousness, this limitless consciousness means what is there also is a limitless consciousness. Therefore, very I here is also that limitless consciousness. I am conscious and I am limitless consciousness. The difference I create due to upadhi. The difference, upadhi is mithya, and therefore the division between me and Ishvara also is mithya. Literally speaking, I am the cause of the entire creation. Like Brahman is the cause of entire creation. Brahman lends existence to the entire creation. Brahman alone appears in the form of all these forms. Therefore, I also say I am being Brahman. I am also in the form. These are all my forms, mithya forms. So therefore, this is how you have to. What lends existence to a given thing, that alone appears in that form. When if a gold lends existence to all ornaments, you should say gold alone is in all these forms. There is nothing else. That's called real cause, where the cause alone appears as the mithya karyam. That's a real cause. With the upadhi, etc., including upadhi, Maya-upadhi, when you say karanam, then it's the parinami upadana karanam, that is actually mithya. You know, the jagat is mithya, karyam is mithya, and therefore the Maya also is of course mithya. It is non-separate from the Brahman, and therefore including Maya, well, when you say cause, then you say Ishvara is a cause. Then you say I am effect. That's fine. That's fine. You can. That's how bhakti happens. He is a karmaphala data, and well, I am a jiva. But from the standpoint of Atma, which is Brahman, which alone is everything, which alone is the cause alone is everything, and therefore, well, Atma alone is everything. Then you have a sarvatma bhava, that's called, and well, so then whatever the states are there, in all the states, whatever is there is you, and therefore Vishwa also is you, Virat also is you. That's how they are equated. And that's called Prathama Pada of Brahman. No. Prathama Pada of Atma. Brahman, well, definitely, Brahman has not to know Brahman. Here, well, basically, I take myself as a ahankara, jiva, etc. And that is why I should know. I should know that I am Brahman. Not Brahman should know I am Brahman. Therefore, basically, I am the ahankara, but that is due to ultimately its existence due to Brahman, which is my real Sarupa, the Sakshi. So that mixture has to know. Ahankara along with that Brahman will be always there, and therefore the ahankara along with the Brahman has to know what? That you are Brahman. When you say, when the Shastra says you are Brahman, you automatically don't claim henceforth that I am ahankara. That's it. Then the ahankara basically becomes mithya. I am a pramata, the ahankara becomes mithya. That will remain throughout the life as a mithya. That is called the destruction of the ahankara, you can say. Anyway, Here destroying is understanding that I am not ahankara. That's a nivrutti of the ahankara, you can say. So understand as, then therefore, Vishwa and Virat are both me alone, Atma alone, Brahman alone. Could you follow now? So this is how it is. Whatever is there is because of me. Yeah. Body is there, consciousness is there. Thought is there, consciousness is there. Hunger is there, consciousness is there. I am repeating, honestly I am telling you, because ultimately this is the purport, that you are whole, you are everything. And therefore means remaining whole you appear as everything. That's better. Remaining whole you appear as everything. That for everything is appearance. Those things which have appeared as a Vishwa and Virat has not created any division in you. You are. This is to explain you are whole. We are definitely equating Vishwa and Virat in your first state of experience. You are whole, remaining, because when I say I am this and I am this, but Swamiji, that has created division. I am here and I am here. Means I am divided into this. No, these are my appearances. These are my appearances, definitely, and therefore, remaining whole, I appear as this Jagat. Therefore, everything is mithya, in fact. Anyway, and the same thing Ishvara can say. Ishvara says. Ishvara need not say. Ishvara knows. Ishvara knows because of the upadhi. He knows. Because of the upadhi, I have to know. I have to reduce the pradhanyam of the upadhi. The attributes of the upadhi I should not impute upon myself, the Atma, the Brahman, which is free from all attributes, nirguna. That's what jivanmukta does. Therefore, jivanmukta says I am everything. Ishvara says I am everything. I am Ishvara. Jivanmukta says I am Ishvara. Please understand. Jivanmukta can say I am Brahman, or Jivanmukta can say I am everything. Let me include all names and forms. All, because I know the reality. So therefore, yena vijnanena sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati tad vijnanam asti. Eka vijnanena sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati. Chandogya. Eka vijnanena sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati. Therefore, this Jivanmukta is sarvajna. He says, I am everything. I know what is the essence of this. I know this. Essentially, I know this. Yeah. If you ask me about names and forms, well, I need a Maya-upadhi. Vishesha, I do not know. Ishvara is one who is a Sarvajna also. He knows himself as well as he knows names and forms in details also, because of the Maya-upadhi. But that upadhi is mithya. Really speaking, Ishvara is Brahman. I am also Brahman. And Ishvara appears in all the forms. I can say I also appear in all the forms. All the things in the entire world exist. The entire gross world exists because I exist. I am self-existent, self-revealing consciousness, limitless consciousness. I am Atma Brahma. Therefore, keep this thing in mind, please. Sarvam hi etat Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. All that is there is Brahman, that is myself. And therefore, definitely can be equated. And it has been equated. Vishwa and Virat has been equated. That's one state of experience. And in the fourth mantra, Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha is equated. Because one consciousness, that is me, pervades everything. Whatever is there is due to me. Therefore, entire subtle prapancha, or the subtle body, well, derives existence from me, the consciousness. And Ishvara knows this because of the upadhi. I do not know this because of the upadhi. Therefore, upadhi becomes a predominant on me, making me appear as a jiva, limited, alpagnya, alpashakti. Really speaking, I am also sarvajna. Because all that is there is me, and therefore I know essentially everything is me. Therefore, well, I am sarvajna. So far as name and form is concerned, well, that is, name and form is mithya, but with the Maya-upadhi, Ishvara knows that. As a parinami upadanam, well, he knows everything. And therefore, that this is the difference is a difference in terms of a upadhi only. Therefore, Ishvara, which is a nimitta, this is a fourth mantra, and there the dream state has been equated. So the dreamer and the dream world, the subtle world, etc., and identifying with the dream body, etc. All that I experience is also ultimately me. Both are me alone. Taijasa and Hiranyagarbha are me alone. And then, well, this entire Karya Prapancha resolves, and that is in a Karana, and that is Ishvara. Or you can say Pragya, that is also same. Pragya is one where this Ahankara, the deep sleeper, which is in Avyakta. And then when it becomes Avyakta, well, then the division between Veshti and Samashti also resolves. Therefore, ultimately, Pragya also is a Ishvara alone. Pragya resolves into what? Ishvara. So, definitely, Ishvara is the cause of everything through Maya. Then Ishvara is the cause of this body, mind, sense complex. When that resolves, well, definitely Pragya resolves into Ishvara. Both are unmanifest. Both are ultimately in an unmanifest form. Ishvara is also unmanifest and cause of the entire Karya Prapancha, Sthula and Sukshma. And well, I am also, the Ahankara also is an unmanifest form there. In unmanifest state, the division between Veshti and Samashti resolves. One cannot experience. In a waking state, we experience, because as I wake, I take myself to be this. When I take myself to be this, automatically Samashti is different, I am different. Really speaking, it is like what? They give example. One Acharya was giving an example that they give in India, when you go to any Tirtha Kshetra, especially Prayag and everywhere, they give you a pot. It is available for sale, pot, copper pot, in which they fill up the Ganges water, and then they seal it, and the sealed copper pot with the Ganga Jalam is given to you. Suppose you after from Prayag you go to our ashram in Rishikesh and take that pot along with you while going for bath, and then you merge that pot into Ganges water. Hey, inside Ganges and outside Ganges. But then why inside outside? Avarana. The difference between inside, which is Veshti, outside Samashti. My God, what? Right now you should see Ganges. Somebody sent me a photo. My brother only went there and he sent me a photo. What a water, my God. So much of flood. So much water. Samashti. This is Veshti. Difference between Veshti and Samashti is really just due to Avarana, that cover. Yeah. What is there, what is inside is what is outside. This is the division. Please understand this. Therefore, Avarana creates, due to Avarana, which I have not removed. So therefore, as I wake up, the division, Vyashti Samashti. Vyashti Samashti division is not from the standpoint of Ishvara. Vyashti Samashti division is from the standpoint of Maya-upadhi. I am Brahman. There is no Vyashti and Samashti. Really speaking, all that is there is one thing alone. But on that I superimpose two things, Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti Samashti division also is from the standpoint of Avarana. If Avarana goes away, well, I will say, even in the waking state, I will say, all that is there is myself. There is no Samashti and there is no Vyashti at all. And even if you say Vyashti Samashti, that at the mithya level, because Ahankara is there, therefore you say, well, all that is Ishvara. You can say that. And he can pray it also. He can pray, at least not for himself now, but for the welfare of the society. He does a namaskara to Ishvara. So two types of people can do namaskara to Ishvara. Those who are totally ignorant of this fact, and then because of that, well, means Avarana is there, therefore they say Ishvara is different. And Ishvara is a Sarvagnya, Sarveshvara, Antaryami. He is a Karmaphala Data, and definitely he alone, gives me phalam of various my karmas, etc. When you say my karma, already there is a Avarana, Upadhi, Upadhi Pradhanyam is there. Anyway, so I take myself Karta, Bhokta, etc. and he is a Karma Phaladata, and so you pray. That devotion is good, but ultimately that duality, well, that is reality. That's not true. Keeping the division, you pray, fine. But you think that Ishvara is really different from you. That's due to Avarana only, which is mithya. Yeah. And therefore, that is fine. And the second type of people also pray, knowing that there is no difference between he and Ishvara alone. Still, as a bhakta, well, identifying, false identification for such a person, jivanmukta, identifying with this mithya ahankara, he says, I am a devotee, I am a jnani bhakta, he can say. And he may pray to Ishvara with a creating a division between, he is a karmaphala data and I am doing a prayer, not for himself, because now he knows the purpose of the life is totally served, the fulfillment I got it, but for others. Therefore, well, that's how Shankaracharya ji also wrote so many devotional stotras, etc., and he established panchayat and puja and so many things. Therefore, he can also pray. So, he even though he is enlightened, yet he can pray, identifying with this false ahankara. That's it, mithya ahankara, which is there, which is experiential. With that, well, he prays. So for him, really there is no division. But for the other person, the devotee, who really thinks that Ishvara is different from me, even though he is not different, but he thinks he is different. And therefore, Ishvara's aham alone has to be accepted. Because everything is Ishvara, ultimately through Maya-upadhi, he created everything, gross. He created subtle. He created all through Maya-upadhi, all subtle elements and grossification and all that. Therefore, well, all that is here is Ishvara, one should say. Therefore, he should not say this belongs to me. He should not say. He should say all this is what is there is Ishvara. Even my thought is Ishvara, my memory is Ishvara, my senses are Ishvara, definitely. Entire sukshma, sthula, everything. From the standpoint of, along with the Maya-upadhi, parinami upadana, well, all that is Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara says aham, all that is mine, suppose. Entire sthula prapancha is mine through Maya-upadhi. Sukshma prapancha is mine through Maya-upadhi, of course. And well, he says this is my Maya, which only undergoes this modification, Triguna only, modifies into this entire Jagat and constantly changing everything. And all that is there is me. Well, then all that is mine, if he says. Therefore, he puts a I, sense in everything. That's worth. But no. I say this is mine. That's entirely wrong thing. Entirely wrong thing. You have not created your own body. And therefore, your karmas are there, that's responsible, of course. But with those karmas, from the sanchita, from your own upadhi, what are the karmas to be fructified? And accordingly, what type of body should be given? And what type of, and which culture you should be born, and all that. All that is decided by that Ishvara, who is a karma phaladata. Therefore, ultimately this division is due to upadhi, which is mithya, and that is on the part of the jiva, not on the part of Ishvara. Ishvara says everything is me. Well, as a parinami upadana, I have everything, fine. As a vivarta upadana, I am everything, fine. But as a vivarta upadana, I can also say I am everything. Ultimately, that is the cause. That is the cause. What is undergoing modification is mithya. What is incidental is mithya. What comes and goes, mithya. That is the modification of Maya alone, which is mithya. And therefore, really speaking, all exist on account of me. That is why asti bhati priyam. All exist because of me. That is the consciousness. That is limitless consciousness. Self-revealing, self-existing. That is I. That is Atma. That is Brahman. Therefore, there is no difference between me and Ishvara. Really, in tattvata, essentially, there is no difference. Because upadhi is mithya. Maya or this malina sattva or a vishuddha sattva is mithya. Anyway, so I've spoken a lot. But my point is, so this fourth pada is also pada of Ishvara or pada of Atma, same thing. Anyway, and then fifth mantra, well, talks about a a third state of experience, which is as a prajna, as a deep sleeper, etc. And that prajna is equated with the Ishvara in a sixth mantra. Earlier, the Vyashti Samashti is equated in a one mantra itself, right? Vishwa, Virat, Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, etc. But here, the prajna has been narrated. The characteristic of prajna narrated in fifth mantra, and the sixth mantra describe Ishvara, but equated. Eshaha means this prajna alone is Swarup Avastha. Bhashakara says, Esha hi Swarup Avastha Sarveshwarah Sadi Devikasya Bheda Jatasya Sarvasya Ishita. That is Ishvara. Now when Ishvara comes with nimitta karana upadan karana, that prajna alone is a nimitta karanam first. Prajna alone is upadan karanam later. How? Where? In the sixth mantra. So Sarveshwara indicates nimitta karanam. Ishvara, nimitta karanam. So Bhashakara says, Esha hi Swarupavastha. Look at that. Swarupe tishtati. Remaining his own Swarupa, means he knows. Sarvajnyaha, Sarveshwara. Remaining in his own Swarupa, means knows I am Brahman. Well, he becomes a nimitta karanam for what? Sadi Devikasya Bheda Jatasya Sarvasya Ishita. Sarvasya Ishita. He is a ruler of everything. He is a nimitta karanam, karta of everything. He creates everything. Sarvasya Ishita, Sarvasya karta. He creates everything. Bheda Jatasya, which is in the form of this duality. The Jagat, Sadi Devikasya, along with the Adideva. So, Samashti. Along with this Adideva, along with this Samashti, whatever is created with the laws. Right? Created with the laws. And therefore that is Adideva. That is the Devatas. These are the Devatas. Along with the laws only, manifestation, the entire creation manifests with the laws. That law, intelligent law, well, which is there behind any name and form. That is Devata. Please understand. And therefore, so Adhyatmika and Adideva, both are, he is a creator of everything. But who is that? That of course when you say he is a creator, you are taking into account Maya-upadhi, but which is mithya. What is there is essentially, that is Brahman. Therefore that is Prajna alone. Prajna is Brahman. Prajna is Atma. Atma is Brahman. Who says I am Atma Brahman? But that is Brahman. That is okay. Sarvam Brahma. That is Atma. That is you. Therefore this Prajna is everything. Prajna is everything. You are everything. So therefore, you are nimitta karanam. No, Ishvara is nimitta karanam. No, through Maya-upadhi. But what is there is ultimately Brahman alone. Through the mithya Maya-upadhi becomes a nimitta karanam. And you are a Brahman, so you can say with the mithya upadhi, I am the nimitta karanam of everything. If upadhi is real, you cannot say. If upadhi is real, you cannot say this. I am a nimitta karanam. So Ishvara, Brahman with the real upadhi, associating with the real Maya upadhi, he becomes a nimitta karanam. Then you cannot claim. But definitely, if you say Brahman, then you lend existence to the very Maya upadhi. Along with the Maya upadhi, I am a nimitta karanam. Therefore, it says Eshaha Sarveshwarah. Eshaha Prajna. We should not gloss over Eshaha Prajna. Why Esha is Prajna? That is what we discussed in the mantra number 5. Therefore, in 6th mantra begins with Esha means this means what has been narrated before. And therefore, that prajna which you take yourself due to upadhi, avarana, you take yourself as a prajna. You are not prajna. You are Brahman. But how can you say that I am not a prajna? That upadhi is mithya. Upadhi is mithya. The very malinda sattva upadhi karana sharira is mithya. Well, and therefore definitely you are the same Brahman with this mithya upadhi. Well, so the same Brahman with the mithya Maya upadhi is called nimitta karanam. Then same Brahman with the mithya upadhi, which I call as a prajna, is also mithya. And therefore prajna is Ishvara, nimitta karanam. Please understand. Eshaha Sarveshwaraha. Swarupavasthaha. Swarupe tishtanti. Difference is due to upadhi. Well, he knows that I am Brahman. I just don't know that I am Brahman. Thanks to Upadhi. So Upadhi Pradhanyam is there. Otherwise, I should also say, I am Sarvajna. I create everything. I am in the form of everything, etc. etc. Upadanam we are not discussing right now. Anyway, so the Adhyatmic Prajna alone is this Adi Devika Ishvara. Iti Esha. Na etasmat jatyantar bhutaha. Na etasmat prajnat jatyantar bhutaha. Not that Esha that Prajna belongs to another class. Esha is Ishvara, which is nimitta karanam. Well, then therefore, don't think that our Ishvara is just a nimitta karanam. Jatyantar bhutaha anyeshamiva, Bhashakara says. Look at that line. Anyesham. For others, Ishvara is just a nimitta karanam. Well, our Ishvara is not of that class. We are describing right now nimitta karanam, but our Ishvara is a upadanam. How can you say? Esha he yoni, etc. is coming. Esha yoni hi prabhavapyo hi esha prabhavapyo hi bhutanam esha prajna, etc. So, upadanam has been coming. Therefore, our Ishvara is, when we are discussing as a Srishti Karta, etc., don't think that Ishvara is a Srishti Karta. Just like in the case of Anyesham means of whom? Ishvara is a Nimitta Karan. For Nayayikas, etc., and for Sankhyas, etc. That is what Anandgiri mentions also in a 7th line. Nayayikadayastu tatastham Ishvarasya atishtante. Atishtante. Atishtante means they have astha. A plus tha dhatu, atishtante. They have astha. They think that Ishvara is basically just a karta, which is called a tatastha. Tatastha means he doesn't take part into creation. He is just a nimitta karanam of the jagat. Upadanam is different, and therefore that's called tatastha Ishvara, who doesn't jump into the creation, becomes part of the creation, not upadana. He is nimitta, srishti karta alone. He creates. And well, so this is tatastham ishvarasya atishtante tadayuktam. That's not fair. Patyuha samanjasya, I will explain you that. So Nayayika, the logicians, look upon the Ishvara as someone separate from the Jagat, Upadana. Material cause also is separate. So they call Ishvara as a Tatastha. And since the material cause being separate, please understand, if the material cause is separate, the Jivas too are also separate. Jivas are part of Jagat. He is not in the form of Jagat. He is just a Karta. So he created Jiva and Jagat both. Just Karta. Therefore Jiva is separate from Ishvara. So they establish this Nayayika, etc. purely by reason. And their reasoning is really against logic. Is against real, it's not reasonable. Their reasoning is not reasonable. That I will show you. Anyway, so they pick up from the Shruti. That's how they are not Vaidika. We call them as Bhashakara's very favorite word for all these philosophers, Astika philosophers. Even though Astika means they believe in Veda as a Pramana, but they pick up few things from Veda, not entire. Otherwise, there are statements which says Ishvara is not just nimitta, it is abhinna nimitta. Very, very yatha aksharat sambhavati iha vishvam yathornanabhi srujate grunnate cha. Well, just as Urnanabhi, this spider creates the entire web out of himself. He is the nimittam, he is the karta of the web, at the same time material also from himself. Very beautifully, with example, Ishvara has been shown as a abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, as a upadanam as well as nimitta karanam. No, they pick up few things here and there. Oh, how many Ishvaras have been described in a Veda? One Ishvara. Okay, that's it. Therefore, he is a creator. He alone is the creator of the entire universe. He is a nimitta karanam. That is itself is a wrong. If I'm not going into Brahmasutra, which has been mentioned by Anandgiri, that I am explaining you, but before that I will give you the reason. What is the reasoning they give? Because it's Anumana Vakyam. They will go by this. Reasoning means Anumanam, Tarka. That's how Bhashakara calls them Tarkika. All Sankhyas, Vaishesikas, Nayayikas, even yoga people, all we have a one title. We, the Shankaracharya-vadis, have a one title, iti tarkikaha. Tarkikaha ahuhu. Several places you will see. All tarkika means Veda, even though astika, yet tarkika, natu Vaidika. Because they pick up few statements. And one, regarding Ishvara, they have picked up this. That Ishvara is one described in the Veda. And therefore, and that is the Karta of the Jagat. That's it. So one Karta behind entire creation. We explain that's wrong. It's your reasoning is wrong. What is the reasoning they give? Jagat sakartrukam. Karyatvat. Gatavat. This creation is sakartrukam. Must have a Karta. Creator. Must have a creator. Why? Karyatvat. Gatavat. If pot is created, is a creation, there must be a creator. That is Kulala. That's a pot maker. Same way, this also is a creation. Beautiful, intelligent creation. Therefore, there is a Karta. How many Kartas? Oh, let us look into Veda. Oh, Ishvara is one. We have not found many Ishvaras in Veda. Okay. So one Ishvara is a creator behind the entire creation. Oh, sir, your reasoning is totally unreasonable. Your reasoning to prove that there is one Karta, which is Ishvara nimitta karanam behind the entire creation, is wrong. Why? Why? How many components you find? You just find a one component in the creation or many components? Many components are there. Pot is of course a one thing, but here thousands of things are there. Therefore, if thousands of things are there, why don't you take thousands of Karta? Why should we take? Because, take another example. House is a creation? Yes, creation. There must be a creator. How many creators? One. Mason is one. Electrician is another. Plumber is third. Carpenter is fourth. How many? Behind one creation, how many Kartas? Many Kartas. Right? So Jagat, Aneka Kartrukam you should say. Therefore, behind Jagat, which has a many things, like in a home, there are many, even though it's a creation, but there are many things created in that. Same way, this Jagat also has a many things. So you should not tell us Gatavat. You should say Grihavat. Jagat Aneka Kartrukam Karyatvat Grihavat. This is our reasoning. How will you disprove it? How will you disprove it? Thousands of things are created. Oh my God. Even in a small home, you need many creators. Then this must have many creators, many Ishvara, many nimitta karanam. No answer from Nayayikas. Then they say, no, Shruti says one Ishvara. Shruti says one Ishvara alone creates. Is Shruti says this much or Shruti says something more? Have you really looked into that? Tasmad va etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah. What is created is out of tasmad brahmanah etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah. From that Brahman, this akasha came, vayu came. The upadanam is Brahman. Can't you see that? No, that we don't accept. This is how this pseudo-Vedikas, other than Vedantin, all are pseudo-Vedikas. Therefore, Tarkika. And the Tarka is Pratikula Tarka. The reasoning goes against reasoning. We have presented another Anumana Vakyam. Their Vakyam is Jagat Sakartrukam Karyatvat Gatavat. Pot is creation. It has a one creator called pot maker. Same way, entire creation is like pot. It has a one creator called Ishvara. Just go to another example and you find Aneka Kartrukam. Yeah. How will you disprove it that there are not many Ishvaras? So Bhashyakara says, Anyesham iva na jatyantar bhuta. When you take into just a nimitta karanam, Then there are other issues that is discussed in the Brahmasutra, which Anand Giri mentions also. Look at that. So, Nayayikadeyastu Tatastham Ishwarasya Atishtante. They have astha in this Tatastham. Ishwarasya Tatastham. Ishvara is considered as a Tatastha, as a nimitta karana. Tadayuktam. That's not fair. Patyuhu asamanjasyat iti nyayat. Nyaya virodhat iti aha. So to answer Nayayika, we have to use their language. We have to use Nyaya. Everything we have to prove with the Nyaya. So we prove with the Nyaya with them. With the Nayayikas, they love Nyaya, Tarka. Vedic statements are Vedic statements. Here and there we will pick up. Not everything. We should go by our. What is there is also Ishvara. Upadanam Ishvara. Oh, so many bad things are there. That is Ishvara. No. Just Karta. Tatastha. Then the issues are there. Now second issue. If you take that, then we say, well, and to give answer logically, we have to go to Brahmasutra, because Brahmasutra is a Nyaya Grantha. Yeah. That's how you have to give answer in their language. And there, this sutra is there. Patyuhu asamanjasyat iti. It's a Brahmasutras 2:37. Patyuhu means of this Ishvara, Parmeshwarasya, of this Parmeshwara, which is who is just a nimitta karanam. Well, asamanjasyat means if Ishvara is taken as a separate, as a tatastha, who is creating the world. Like all the theologists, they also say same. Christians and all, remaining in heaven, basically he created this world before 5,000 years, 6,000 years. That's how they go. So where we say these dinosaurs, etc., which are million-year-old, all this, this asthi, etc., we found that if we excavate, then what about that? He said if Ishvara can create the entire world, he can even throw some dinosaur this one also. So therefore, so many houses I think in India, maybe 5,000 or many things in India you will find more than 5,000, 6,000 year old. Even our Vedas that has been accepted by all historians, that these Vedas are at least Rig Veda 10,000 year old. Therefore, the creation cannot be this 5,000, 6,000 year old. Anyway, so it is considering Nayayikas they in this respect they are like Christians. Other theologians, even other Allah also created same thing, separate from the creation, remaining in heaven. But who created heaven? You know this. I don't want to go into that. Who created heaven then? Therefore, Ishvara alone created. Then he must have been he must have been outside. Before he creates, he should be somewhere else. In hell and all that. So that is why when we do this reasoning, you find that this is not fair. But anyway, so he becomes one of the karta of the world. Let's say he becomes an entity. Upadanam is separate from him, and when he is separate from the creation, definitely. Now in creation there is a taratamya, a lot of gradation is there. According to culture, some are created in certain cultures, some people are created so that they can have education. Infrastructure is there, outside infrastructure, inside also infrastructure, they get educated. And some are created with a lot of opportunities, golden spoon. Some are created with the silver spoon. Some are created with the steel spoon. And then some are created with one type of economic status. Some are created with all this. He is a creator. Why he create like this? He should have created everyone with the same economic status, same opportunities, same education, same type of culture. You have a certain cultural advantage being in India. If you are in a Gulf country, well, it's an entirely different thing. You have to remain under the burqa throughout the life. And in this heat, again wearing black which absorbs heat. I don't understand that. these males, they wear white. But the ladies, all the time, under curtain, had to do black. Anyway, so to be born in that culture, why? Who created us like this? Sitting there. But why? We are really not favorable to him, or what? Why he is creating like us? Like this? Raga-dvesha. Automatically, if he is a nimitta karanam, we have to impute raga-dvesha along with him. Because there is what he is created, he has a lot of taratamya. So Bhagavan has a lot of raga-dvesha, and that kind of Ishvara with the raga-dvesha is asamanjasyam. We cannot accept raga-dvesha in Ishvara. If raga-dveshas are there, all other issues are there. All other issues are there. What is the basis? Ajnanam is there. Without ajnanam, raga-dvesha cannot come. Therefore, we always say, who has a sarvatma bhava? Who doesn't have a raga-dvesha? Who doesn't have a raga-dvesha? Doesn't have raga-dvesha means maybe certain priorities are there, but no. Raga-dvesha comes if you see something different from yourself. Then only something is favorable, something is unfavorable. Something you like to avoid, something you like to have, something you like to protect, something you like to get rid of. All will be there with the person who doesn't know that he is everything. And anyway, Ishvara is Sarvagnya. He knows himself, he is Brahmani, and all these are my forms. Therefore, how can he has this raga-dvesha? But all these are my forms, he can say when he is upadana. No, Ishvara is a nimitta. Then raga-dvesha will be there. Raga-dvesha will be there. And with a raga-dvesha, definitely ajnanam also should be there. Then how can you call Ishvara Sarvagnya? Because nimitta karanam must be Sarvagnya. What he creates must have a knowledge of everything. He creates everything. Therefore, he has a knowledge of everything. He is all knowledge. But raga-dveshas and all knowledge cannot go together. Raga-dvesha indicates ajnanam. Ajnana of oneself. If ajnana of oneself is there, he is not sarvagnya. Over. With reasoning, we prove their reasoning is wrong. What? Ishvara is nimitta karana. Ishvara jagat sakartrukam karyatvat gatavat. This is a creation. There must have been a creator, and the creator is Ishvara, and that is one. Because there is no bahuvachanam for Ishvara in Veda. Many Ishvaras are there. No. One Ishvara. Nimitta karana. Tatastha. Patyuhu asamanjasya. Patyuhu Parameshwarasya. Kevala nimittattvena. Just to take as a nimitta, asamanjasya, that cannot be accepted. Samanjasya will not be there. So if Ishvara has got to be Ishvara, he has to be both nimitta and upadana. And therefore, basically, all that is there is nothing but Ishvara. All that is there, so all the duality which you see is just apparent. Nanatvam is apparent. All that is there is Ishvara. He is upadanam also. So all the Veda etc. is simply not real Veda. And example is there. Example not yathodhanabhi. We are example. Yatha sapna prapancha drashta hai. Sapna prapancha. You are the maker. You are the material of the entire dream universe. Similar to this. Dream time, dream space, dream objects, dream sentient beings and dream insentient beings, everything. You are the creator. You are the material. When we are giving you the example which is closest to you, which is under your experience, where is to negate that Ishvara is just a negate the Ishvara cannot be both. Ishvara is both. If everything is Ishvara, then this duality, etc., the Veda which you see is a mithya Veda. All that is there is Ishvara, and then further it will come Eshaha. Eshaha Pragya. This Pragya alone is this. The truth of everything is Ishvara, truth of everything is Atma. That without me, where is Jagat? Where is any form? Where is any name? So Ishvara says, I don't say. That's the difference. Ishvara says, I don't say because thanks to upadhi, karana upadhi, Avarana is there. Just because Avarana, it creates a hell in waking state and a dream state, taking myself as just a waker or a dreamer, as a real. Really speaking, waker is Ishvara, dreamer is Ishvara, deep sleeper is Ishvara. All that is there is one Ishvara. That is Brahman. That is myself. Anyway, so Bhashyakara then say, this much. Brahmasutra, of course, is quoted by Anand Giri. But Bhashyakara says, look at the Shruti. Shruti says there is no difference between Jiva and Ishvara. Jiva is totally non-separate from Ishvara. That is why Jiva resolves into Ishvara. We are talking about a deep sleep state right now. Therefore, Bhashyakara quotes, if you take nimitta karanam, Jiva is different naturally. Ishvara created, Jiva is in Jagat. He is a creator. So Jiva and Ishvara are different. But that is not the Shruti. Look at the Shruti. What is the Shruti? Prana bandhanam hi somya manah. Iti Shrutehe, Bhashyakara says. Therefore, bandhanam hi somya. Somya word is used for the Shvetaketu, by the Uddalaka. Uddalaka, he tells his son, Somya is a good looking one. Perhaps he also must be feeling it is my son, therefore he is a good looking. Maybe therefore I am also very good looking. Could be. So, Somya. Soma is a Chandra actually. And the moon, when it is very splendid, very beautiful, especially the full moon. And so this sun also is like that. Anyway, what is that? Prana bandhanam hi somya manah. Manah prana bandhanam. That's a Chandogya Vakya. And that is Chandogya 682. 6 chapters, Avidya Prakarana. And there it has started like this, you know very well. The Brahman has been narrated as a Sat. And that Sat alone was. And then from Sat alone everything comes, and therefore everything is Sat. And that Sat is equated with the Atma. And that Atma is you, Tat Tvam Asi. That's what Tat Tvam Asi says. So along with the many examples, Uddalaka explained that everything here is Sat, that is Atma, that is you. Therefore you are everything. You are the cause of everything. Ultimately, I should not say you are cause or you are cause. Really speaking, you are everything. That's it. You are everything means Swamiji, but then I must be the cause. It's a mithya. Really speaking, these are all, everything is mithya, really speaking. Every. You are whole, appear in all these forms. That's better. You remaining whole appear as everything. That's a vivarta. Therefore, mind is a upadhi. Understand this. Manaha is upadhi and the upalakshana is for jiva. So here manaha means jiva. Naturally, you know very well. Who is jiva? Swamiji, Brahman with the upadhi. Which upadhi? Karana Sharira. Okay, Karana Sharira manifests as what? What is the manifest condition of this jiva? Well, that is mind. Okay, ahankara. So, basically, along with the mind, Brahman along with the Sukshma Sharira, Brahman along with the mind is a jiva associated with the upadhi. Should be, in Sanskritam we should say, Brahman, this jiva is none other than, oh I'm sorry, thank you, somebody reminded me. So basically we should say, so antakarana upahita chaitanyam jiva. Antakarana vishishtam chaitanyam jiva. Antakarana upahita chaitanyam Brahma. That is the way. That is how Vichara Sagara beautifully described. Antakarana vishishta chaitanyam. You take the attributes of the upadhi. Upadhi becomes a pradhanyam. You are jiva. Antakarana upahita chaitanyam. You appear as jiva. Upahitam means basically upadhi's dharmas are there. It's a upadhi's dharma, not my dharma. Like the crystal which appears red due to upadhi, upadhi means which is nearby, and basically superimposes its own attribute upon that, superimposes on the crystal. So therefore crystal appears red. So that's called upahita dharma. Crystal's appearance red is a upahita dharma, means really remaining crystal, colorless, appears red. Same way, well, I remaining as a Brahman, Sakshi, appears as a Jiva due to Antakarana, which is so close. How close? Abhinnam, non-separate from you. Because it derives existence from you, and therefore basically Antakarana, which is so close, well, remaining so close becomes a upadhi and superimposes an attributes on me, which is attributeless. And therefore all this kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, pramatrutvam, etc. and then further krodha, etc. also. Anyway, so I am basically remaining sakshi, appears as a jiva. Therefore manaha indicates a jiva here. Upalakshana. Mana is a upadhi, and this is I am a upahita jiva. That is it. So this jiva, prana bandhanam hi manaha. So this manaha, prane bandhyate. What is prana now? Manaha is jiva, prana is what? Prana is presented as a paratma. Where? Chandogya. How can you say, Swami? Because it has been derived, it has been fixed in a Brahmasutra. There is a pranadikaranam, and then it has a one sutra, ataha eva pranaha. You know, there is, before that there is a akashadikaranam. There it has been narrated, akasha in a certain context in some Upanishad should not be taken as a bhuta akasha, should be taken as a Brahman. That has to be established by Nyaya. That is what the Brahmasutra's job is. Just I am completing. Brahmasutra's job is to remove a certain contradiction, appearing certain contradiction in the Upanishad Vakyas. That's their job. And Brahmasutrakara Vyasacharya did that. One of that is this. Word Akasha has used, but indicating Brahman, Atma. But then who will decide? So, with a Nyaya. Establish. Then immediately there is a pranadikaranam. And there Chandogya Vakya has been quoted, and that Vakya is in 111.5. Katama sa devata iti pranaha iti hovacha sarvani hava imani bhutani praptam eva abhisamvishanti pranam abhyujirate sa esha devata prastavam anvayatta, etc. In prana, all things that we see around, moving, non-moving, etc., in prana alone they disappear at the time of resolution, and they appear at the time of their appearance. So at the time of dissolution, pralaya, well, everything resolves into prana. Very prana is a part of Sukshma Sharira, that also resolves. Therefore the word prana is there, Ishvara. So prana is a Ishvara, very beautifully established. Sarva Srushti Sthiti Laya Karanam, Brahma has been established, and that has been addressed as a prastava, a part of a Sama mantra, etc. Means that is invoked, that Ishvara is invoked in a Sama mantra, part of Sama mantra, etc. So that's for Upasana purpose. But I am saying that mantra is quoted by Vyasacharya ji. In fact, because in a Brahmasutra topics are there, called Adhikarana. In a given topic, well, Vyasacharya ji brings a Upanishad Vakyas which appear contradictory and discusses and resolves it through the sutra. Therefore, ataheva pranaha, because of the same reason, means the reasons which we have given you to establish Akasa as Atma, with the same reasoning, we are also saying now prana here in a Chandogya, in a certain context, of course. Prana can be our Mukhya Prana also. Prana can be Indriya also as a Gauna Prana. But prana here, word, is as a resolver of everything and for the appearance of everything, including the pranas, Mukhya Prana, is the Ishvara. And therefore, Prana Bandhanam Somya Manaha. This Jiva, Manaha means Jiva, is Badhyate, is connected, well, into, to this Prana means Parameshvara. Means Jiva is non-separate from the Ishvara. And therefore, at the time of deep sleep, Jiva resolves into Ishvara. Therefore, Eshaha Pragnaha Ishvara. Very beautifully explained everything, and we'll see that. Therefore, If Ishvara is abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, I am abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. I am upadanam of everything, all the names and forms. I am a nimitta karanam of everything. Eshaha sarveshwaraha, eshaha sarvasya yonihi, etc. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.